Hey, how are you?
Oh, are you sure you're feeling up to it?
I am. Yeah. I just don't want to leave my house and we're sick here. So Millie actually was supposed to be our third presenter and she is not well and she is not joining us, but Micah is going to be here and he has slides. Have you come
Yep.
across Micah yet?
He's here and we have it going, or he's got it set up. He's got it put back into a PDF form because we can't get into, what is it? Not Publisher, PowerPoint, but he's got your links going on like separately on, YouTube. So there'll be a little pause while we get that going.
Okay. Yeah, I'm so grateful for Micah and his ability to make things happen and just go with the flow.
Oh yeah, he's great. So yep, he's got it all set up. He just ran out for a second and then hopefully he'll be back soon. And
Okay.
welcome, we've got one other person joining us remotely, so welcome. We'll hopefully get started in 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, the service was running long today.
Yeah.
All right.
So I hope you're feeling better. Annika's feeling better, but still.
Good. It sounded like from Kirkland that Jenny and the kids were homesick today also.
Yeah, I know Brett said this morning on NPR, they were talking about, I don't know how many flu cases, that are just reported across the state.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty bad in the schools, and I'm sure it's probably 10 times worse not reported for people who didn't go in.
One of our teachers was saying on Wednesday that their elementary school had a third of the kids out.
Yeah, I know Annika said something about like 200 kids out at Kellogg. So, so lots of fun going on there. So you got Micah back here, Amanda's here, Millie's under the weather too. So
Hey, Micah.
Hey, do you remember Millie's story?
I do. Yep. And so I'm going to revise what I'm doing for the talking about values section and make that a little longer and include some of Millie's story in that.
Great.
So, yep. I guess this is what it means to be in Minnesota in November 2022, that we are just all very sick everywhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
So good morning.
Good morning.
We have Micah here with us today. We've got Amanda joining us and a couple other people joining us online today.
Service is just letting them.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't figure out how to broadcast this.
Okay.
Since I can't Google Home it. Whoop, what did I do now? Oh, there we go.
That sounded like Mary Hansen.
You're Mary.
Oh, you can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Okay. Oops.
I've never seen the owl from this side before. It is quite cool.
So what is it showing you?
So I have 4 windows like Zoom, and I have on the 4th window is the owl window where it's got kind of a widescreen shot of you. And then on the top of that, there's like a 365-degree view of the room.
Okay, because we don't have the view of the room up today, so that's interesting from this angle.
Yeah, it kind
Which
of
is good because we want to see you.
That's meant for the people out there.
Yep. Yeah. Good.
that's pretty cool.
How are you all feeling? Okay.
So far, so good. Amanda, are you not feeling well either?
I am not. We have a stomach bug in our house, so I stayed home.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, Jetty and Molly are not here today.
That is going around.
Is Brett traveling?
No, he's home.
That's good.
That was better today. She woke up with fever yesterday. Slept most of the day.
Yeah.
Now she's up and about today.
Morning, Connie.
Morning. There you are.
You. Kay's here joining us. Kay's muted. Hey, Kay.
Just got connected, so it might
Yeah.
take a minute.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Give it a few more minutes. I know the key. Hopefully someone will be able to come down. You don't know how to get into, and you don't know how to get into the PowerPoint. We're locked out of the Microsoft Office.
Share screen.
Well, we're locked out of Microsoft Office. So it says our 5-day pass has ended. Okay.
That would only have a five.
Thank you.
Oh, and it ended last month.
I know.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome.
Let me go upstairs and see if Kirkland knows anything about it.
If not, we've got to work around. Thank you.
Did you ask Amanda? Amanda, do you know anything about the 5-day, the Microsoft Office?
So we log on to Microsoft stuff online through like office dot something, and then there's different apps that it has. Office 365, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, don't allowed, not allowed to get. Like, just leave.
Let me see it on mine, what it would come up as if I were to log on.
Now we're stuck.
Now we're stuck in the presentation.
Yeah, when we're logging on from our offices, we can log on to office.com, and then we have a variety of apps available there.
Okay, that's more than one way to do that. Oh, hi, Nancy. Let's see if we can sign in.
Good morning, how are you?
Nope.
Yeah.
I see you have your book on. I could have brought mine down.
I just like to sort of carry it with me a lot of times.
This time of year is a good plan.
Okay, let's see if Edge is working again. Hey, we can get out of Edge. That's good. That was odd. Are you able to see our screen, Amanda?
I'm not able to see your screen.
And Millie is too. So we've got a hybrid presentation today.
Now I can see the screen. Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
We're hoping somebody is coming who knows something about that.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably sign in as me. And then it might give you the apps.
I was trying to watch a Zoom meeting on.
Morning.
Sometimes think we're like the cusp of having fully moved technology. I thought it was just a picture.
It is.
Okay, yeah, yeah, a little more information.
Good morning.
So are you busy, Micah?
Yes, very,
That's good, isn't it?
very good. Trying to get a lot of stuff done by the end of the year.
You got a lot of roofs, I suppose. I mean,
No,
So-
right, yeah, right now, we're working on a flat roof system here this week. That we can kind of brush it off, the new brick on Broadway project there on, just the northwest corner of 7th Street and Broadway,
oh,
Hmm.
okay,
the apartment building.
yeah,
So we're starting that this week, and that allows us, we can kind of brush that off.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a flat roof system we can do.
We have been wondering about that, we're able to log in, if we can't do PowerPoint.
We have a workaround if it can't work. but
Can't do PowerPoint.
Yeah, when we open PowerPoint, this is what we got.
Oh. Okay.
Microsoft 5-day pass ended in October.
Well, let's change that.
We tried to go online.
Yeah, let's just log in as me.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, other than that, though, we're off roofs for a while until we're doing ground mounts. We can still work.
do you have a lot of ground?
Yeah, we're working on a 250 kilowatt one down in Wisconsin somewhere.
Let's not log in as me.
I think you more of them around here
Nate,
too.
what's your name?
Yeah, and then we're working on a number of school projects. We just turned on 4 projects for Marshall Public Schools.
Great.
Turned on a project for Bram.
Maybe we should grab my phone.
Several residential,
Yeah.
small commercial ones are
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
But those are a little more public ones.
It's kind of exciting now.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot. So when you started, or about
12.
Is it 12 years?
Yeah. So
What a change, John.
what a change. Yeah, back in the day when it was me and Kurt in his basement, and up, the 2 of us up on the roof, and the 2 of us designing and permitting and everything.
Yeah.
And now,
How are those panels, are they holding up? Those
Yeah.
sections like that?
they are, yeah. They carry a 25-year warranty. There are panels that are 50 years old, still producing power. Talked to a guy in Alaska. He's on his first set of panels, 50 years old.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, they're working great. I'm gonna keep them.
Where's it?
Up in Alaska,
I
he's
know.
off grid in Alaska. I couldn't tell you. the
We lived
town.
in Alaska.
Sure. I didn't recognize it.
Yeah,
so,
okay, yeah.
I haven't been up there, so I didn't have. So,
I'm glad that you started that and it's working.
yeah.
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 So what did you do before that? Besides playing the
I
trumpet?
was a teacher. As a teacher, I also have a background in engineering.
That's okay, we gotta work around, if you wanna do that.
My phone is right upstairs. I don't know why this got logged off. I'm so sorry.
Okay, we'll do the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I have it on PDF, so.
Okay, that'll work. No, no, no. Okay, I'm gonna walk away so you all can do that.
No worries.
Okay.
Oh, listen. No. Yeah. So then I plan on getting all the.
Okay, Amanda, as you can see, I think we've got our workaround that'll work. So
That sounds good. Is the room ready to start?
I think we're getting close to ready, yeah. So, well, yeah, I think we're getting close to ready here. If you're online, I will mute you so that we're, don't have any strange interruptions. I think everybody is good. And then we can unmute as we need to. Amanda, do you want to make the introductions?
Sure, I can do that. Hello, everybody. I'm at home today. My name is Amanda Larson. I work with the church in children and youth ministries. I'm also one of our annual conference's certified hopeful EarthKeepers, which means I've taken some classes and done some work to be more excited about creation care and earth justice. We have a number of certified EarthKeepers in our church, and our EarthKeeper team has about 12 active people on it, and then people who kind of follow us along. The other presenter that you'll have with you today is Micah Johnson. And Micah, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Micah Johnson. I'm on the EarthKeepers team here, and that's all we need for right now.
All right. So
And I'm gonna pretend to make the IT.
Okay. We're going to start with a video that kind of sets the mood for how people might think about sustainability during the holidays. It is a 3.5-minute video, but I think it's well done. So you may be thinking about who are the Earth Keepers and why do they think about this sort of thing? We are people who have connected our faith with action for environmental justice. The Earth Keepers are folks who have a connection between how God has told us to care for the planet and the things that we do every day. So your church, Earth Keepers, is a part of Minnesota's larger Earth Keepers group. And as a group at your church, we do 4 things. We help our church make practical changes. You may remember that we've switched to almost entirely LED bulbs. We work on things like encouraging the pollinator garden and the rain garden. There are a lot of different ways that our Earth Keepers help our church make practical changes, and then also allow the congregation as individual members to make practical changes, which is part of what we're hoping to accomplish today. The Earth Keepers also lift up advocacy opportunities, and we do this through articles in the newsletter and in the bulletin, as well as occasionally we'll have a special message put out about a climate justice issue that we feel our church could help make a difference on. We do education, so things like this, but also a couple of years ago, we did a field trip to a park near our church with one of the city foresters. And the city forester led about 20 of us in a class on how to look at trees and think about how trees could be sick or damaged, to report them to the Park Service so they can help keep our tree canopy strong and healthy. The other piece that we do is we help people find spiritual support. And the work for environmental justice, climate change is very long. And sometimes we need to be reminded that God is at the heart calling us to do these things. So that's just a little bit about the Earth Keepers. This is a picture of us when we went on a field trip to the Rochester Waste Reclamation Society, or not society, building. And behind us is the big room where all of the trucks dump their stuff, and it's then lifted into the burner, which provides energy to parts of our community. So those are the folks that went on that particular field trip. It was a long walk up those stairs because the room where they dump the garbage is huge. You can go to the next slide. Today, our plan is to talk a little bit about how our values can affect our giving and our celebrations, and then move into some more practical things with the carbon choices that we make, encourage folks to make practical commitments, and close with a word of grace. So you might be thinking to yourself, I'm really excited about trying to have a greener Christmas, but I'm not sure that my family is going to be on board with that. Millie.
Just a second, Amanda, sorry, we are having trouble changing slides.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Okay. I'm just going to keep talking about values then.
Okay.
And one of the classes that we had this last year for the Earth Keepers was how we can write a good letter to the editor. And it suggested that we begin by talking about shared values. So Millie Webb is one of our Earth Keepers. She's also very active in United Women in Faith and some of their environmental justice initiatives. And Millie is so sick today, she can't even join us on Zoom. So it's going around, guys. Keep yourselves safe. But Millie grew up in a family with 9 kids. And by the time Millie was 35, she was a great aunt. So there was like a huge span of people, and they started to have conversations about how are we going to do Christmas in a way that feels right to us. And they agreed that what was most important was getting together.
No.
And so they figured out how they could get together in person sometimes, but also how they could get together over Zoom and play board games online when it wasn't possible, or they knew that it was a better choice to stay online at the time. So they started by talking about their shared value of spending time together during the holidays. And holidays, all the way from Thanksgiving to Epiphany, right? There's a lot of opportunities to meet. But they also had to talk about what it was like trying to buy so many gifts for so many people who might not actually need the gifts that they were buying them. So over the years, as kids aged up, they had to have conversations, and sometimes it was hard to say, I know that you love buying a gift for my children every year, or even 2 or 3 gifts from my children every year, but can we think about giving differently? And again, for Millie's family, just talking about what they were valuing in the moment, all of them together, was helpful as they worked their way through these conversations. As they continued to get older and their family kept getting bigger and bigger, they ultimately went to different ways of having a gift exchange. So they would have like a white elephant gift or a nice gift. And they would play various dice games where they could, steal and things. So that way everybody went home with something. But the purpose of the gathering wasn't about the gifts at all. We've also talked about how when planning the meals for gathering in groups, to really make sure the things that you're purchasing are the things that people are going to want to eat. Food waste is a huge problem in the United States, and being able to talk as a family about like, do we really need this on the table when this is what we really want? Even though we've always had this one thing, can we make that decision? So the conversations around how your collective people who are your family and your friends and your coworkers about how you want to put your values into this season can make a big difference. So I'm going to turn things over to Micah for a while.
Cool. I was struck on that video when I was watching it the other day, kind of preparing for this. The something that really there are a lot of things in there, right? That video that we watched just had a million cool facts and everything. We can send all this information to you folks afterward if you're interested. But one thing that struck me on that video is just a really great idea. Is they said wrap your gifts in old maps. Right now, I know some people are all about, everything's all, maps this way, but some of us go to places like the Boundary Waters or remote areas where you don't always have it. So we like to have a paper map, and those things need to be updated every few years, of course. And what do you do with the old ones? Well, I always recycle. I'm like, well, why don't I wrap them? Use them to wrap up some gifts would just be a great idea, or the old atlas or whatever. First of all, it looks festive. And it's just super easy and simple and so on. And that's really what I want to focus on right now, is just to give you a few ideas of ways that you can make more sustainable choices for the holidays. But I really want to focus on trying to make them easy and simple, right? If they're easy and simple, we'll do them and we can convince others to do them, right? And you can go further and further with this, but that's what I'm going to focus on. So first thing I have on here, I'm going to blow that little graphic up here in just a second. But the carbon cost of transportation, and the screen is a little small because of our tech workaround here, but I try to put my sources on there. Again, I'll send that to you. There you can see it hopefully a little better. I'm going to try this full screen again, but it was giving me trouble before. We'll see what we can do here. So the carbon intensity of transportation decreasing as we go lower on the graph here. Hopefully you can see those again. I can send all this to you if you're interested. So when you're asking yourself, how do I go see my family or friends or whoever I'm going to go see for the holidays? See if you can move down on the chart. One thing I want to highlight on here is the rail travel is quite low on the chart, and it's not something that we often think about for traveling long distances. And it doesn't always work for travel, right? There aren't rails that go everywhere, but there are rails that go in an awful lot of places. It does take longer to get there, but if you haven't tried it, it's really fun. It's really interesting. So several of you have obviously tried it. When I think of the stress of air travel, and from an enjoyment point of view, man, rail is just so much more fun, so much more relaxing. You show up relaxed, and you can get up and move around. You can do stuff. You can, and then one added benefit. Oh, it is working. One added benefit of the rail, and in this case, bus transportation, it's also good for the economy. So when you have that relative that you show up to your family gathering, you have that relative that has a little different point of view as you. We all have them, right? And their relative says, Sue, you just took the rail, you just took the train and took longer to get here because you're trying to save the planet. Now you can counter with, well, actually, no, I took a day to get here because it was more relaxing. And by the way, it's better for the economy. Oh, and by the way, rail gets less subsidies, government subsidies than air travel. So you can have that, like, I don't care what brings people to the sustainability table to have that conversation. I don't care what brings them to the conversation. You can have that conversation with multiple ways, right? As long as they get on board. So little interesting guide there. Let's see if we can get Amanda just slightly out of the way. Sorry, Amanda. Okay, so now I've reduced my traveling footprint. Now, how do I, can I completely eliminate it? Well, yes, possibly. Obviously, there's still a carbon footprint with any sort of travel. One answer is carbon offsets. It's efficient, affordable, not perfect. So a carbon offset or a carbon certificate is equal to the reduction of 1 metric ton of carbon emissions. So you can purchase this certificate and that money is invested in, say, a solar project or a sustainable farming project or some sort of project that will offset that amount of carbon emissions. It's not perfect, right? You can see the quote at the bottom, hopefully. It's not perfect. It kind of reminds me of the old indulgences system from the Middle Ages, but we moved past that. But it's good. You do have to be a little careful. You've got to be careful about, you have to be a smart consumer. Carbon offsets, unfortunately, are not yet regulated well. So there are some dubious claims and some who might double count in the lack of transparency. So again, focusing on a simple way to do this well. How do I know if I'm doing this well? There are these 5, again, we can send these to you. These 5 are kind of the gold standard. Any of those 5, if you're doing carbon offsets from those groups, it's being done well. So that's just a simple, easy way. They all have a little bit different focus on different ways that they do things. And maybe you want to do some research and find the one that matches your values the best, or you can just, relax and know that any of those 5 will do well. And each holiday you do a different one. So that's a way you can reduce your carbon footprint from traveling. Okay, we all can relate to this picture up here, right? So how can I know that my gifts are as sustainable as possible? Well, one thing I know is that very few of us need more stuff, right? We don't need more stuff. But what is one thing, when I think about the most valuable thing I can give, there is one thing that I can't make more of, I can't buy more of, and I'm always going to wish I had more of it, and that is time, right? We can't make more, we can't buy more, and we always wish we had more. I can give time, okay? I can give, and experiences, of course. I can go to someone that I'm giving a gift to and say, hey, we're having a nice holiday gathering now. Let's also go to the symphony next week. Let's also go to the RCTC game. Let's go to the Viking. Let's go to the Pops Orchestra. Let's go to this Northern Lights thing at this. These are just some examples up on the screen. There's a million different things. And as a bonus, you're supporting a local organization as well. So there's a nice little bonus there too. Another thing that you can do that doesn't involve more stuff is, I've gotten this gift many times. A donation has been made in your name to one of these organizations. I didn't even know about Heifer International until my folks started donating in my name to this organization. And I get this card one Christmas. And what's Heifer International? I did some research and wow, what an amazing organization. I've just got a few examples of some environmental groups up there. It could be religious groups, it could be other nonprofits. But you can do this as a gift. And as a bonus, you're spreading the word of that organization's mission, right? That the recipient might do some research and find out about this wonderful organization and may continue donating to that organization. Who knows? So there's a kind of a win-win to this, and it doesn't involve more, right, stuff in the garage, right? And then if you do want a tangible gift, sometimes it makes sense to have an actual tangible gift. Maybe it's you're shipping it, whatever the case may be. There are lots of different ways. These are just some examples. There's a million of these lists online of ways you can make that actual tangible gift that you're buying as sustainable as possible. Some of these are, let's see, and what's out here. Oh yeah. Some of these are companies that buy carbon offsets so that they keep their supply chains. Some of them are ones that are using recycled materials, so they're keeping materials out of the waste stream and remaking them into other things. So a lot of different ways you can do this. There's a corporate site down there at the bottom. Again, these are a dime a dozen online, and with a very, very little bit of research, you can find out if they're doing good things as a company. Amanda, are you ready for this?
I am, yep. So we've fed you guys a lot of information in a short period of time. But maybe you heard something that connected with you and you're like, I could try doing that. This video here really made me think immediately about changes I could make tomorrow. And so I apologize. It does have one questionable word in it, but it's nothing you wouldn't hear when you turn on your television or radio. So this one just really made me connect immediately to how I'm shopping.
Last weekend I went to Target to find these last minute bargains.
But Target is filled with plastic and turtles are pissed.
Never rot.
This cucumber's wrapped in plastic, these crude socks and this salad.
This pup doesn't go for plastic, and neither should you. We don't have much time, we're counting on you to break free from plastic and all single use. We wish you were more ambitious, we know that you make commitments, but we want some more specifics, so how you'll improve. So stop using so much plastic, just stop using so much plastic. Please stop using so much plastic and all single use.
So maybe that will be stuck in your head for the next month or so when you go shopping, and remember to grab your reusable bag. But the example of the socks that they hold up, where there are socks that are wrapped in plastic versus socks that are packaged together with paper, that to me is something that I could pay attention to, that could make a difference for me. What slide? Okay, is this the next slide?
Right.
Okay. So we did want to give people a chance to ask a few questions or share examples of what's worked for your community in making a more sustainable season, but also to remind us that not everybody is on the same place with this. And we can know what our values are that we put into our choices. And sometimes it's going to fall on ears that aren't able to hear it. And so remember to practice grace for others and also to practice grace for yourself. You are going to forget your reusable bag in the car sometimes, and you are going to come home with a plastic bag. And that's okay. You can find a way to reuse it 3 times before it becomes a garbage bag liner. But we want to remember that this is a season where we can practice grace and forgiveness, just like Kirkland was talking about in his sermon, and forgiveness. We aren't going to be perfect, but we can each make small steps along the way. It might make the most sense if Micah handles questions and if people have anything to share. I think we've got about 5-10 minutes before the forum is done.
Yeah, 5 minutes here or so. What are some ways that you guys have made more sustainable choices for the holidays, or something to share? You have something?
I just read the book that Pastor Kirkland said a couple weeks ago, The Year Without a Purchase by Scott Daniel. Oh my gosh, there are so many ideas in there. It's a good book and easy to read.
For those online, that was she was recommending the book called A Year Without a Purchase that Kirkland was talking about a couple weeks ago, right? Yeah.
And I got it from the library.
started shopping at the secondhand stores a lot more. I tried to not buy as much. Like I buy reusable. I'm super excited. I bought a Tupperware pitcher last week at a store, and now I have a reusable pitcher for making stuff that I didn't have before, and vintage Tupperware. I'm really excited about that.
And folks online, we can unmute you if you have something to share, watching the Zoom here as well. Yeah.
One thing we've done is with our grandkids, when it comes to birthdays and Christmas, we usually give them one physical gift and then we donate to their 529 common fund.
Oh, that's great.
They're not going to appreciate it when it's 5, but when they're 18, they're going to appreciate it.
Building on my parents gave certificates of
Bonds or
bonds, that's it,
government
thank you,
thing?
government bonds,
Oh,
way back when.
savings plan.
Yeah, for my kids when they were born, and that has been interesting for them, but also all that's been really a great gift when they needed it, which is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
A friend of mine started when her children were quite young, said that 3 wise men brought 3 gifts. And so they have that tradition for their family now. I guess you should start it when they're young.
Sure. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Our family this year, instead of giving presents, we're each giving money toward a gathering later on in the year, probably in fall next year, where we could get an Airbnb and all be together.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. So like a real gathering, you can really spend some time with, yeah. Again, the gift of time, the gift of doing something together.
It's something on Facebook this week I thought was great. It was with advent calendar. Kids that instead of buying a calendar and opening things, they're getting little treats or whatever. It's a giving advent thing. So there was laid out each day of advent. You put together a product that you could donate to like food kitchen or food thing. So like on the first day, it was a box of macaroni and cheese, and the second day, it was, soup or whatever. So at the end of Advent, you go to people.
And you can make up a great alternate 12 Days of Christmas song.
Well, the original, I think, Advent calendars, they have biblical text on each day. And so you really prepare, and the children learn that because, they're little windows, but I mean, the one I had, and I know in Germany, they have them, and I grew up in Hungary, and we had it, and it was a biblical text that was appropriate for the day.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's recycled year
Oh,
after
yeah.
year after year.
That's
The
right.
text don't change that much.
Our church Advent calendar this year, which should be available upstairs at the Welcome Center, does have scripture each day, and it is a storytelling calendar. So one day you're reading Jesus' genealogy, and then you're encouraged to sit and talk about the names of people in your family who you know. So I like gifts that have a story. So Micah, if I was going to wrap something up in an old map, I would circle a spot on the map so that before they open the gift, they'd have to ask, now, what is this spot here? Why is that important? Because I love storytelling.
Fantastic. Anyone online that has something to share? I'm also monitoring the chat here. If you want to type anything in, we can share it. or anyone else that has something that they've done for more sustainable holidays or ideas that they've seen.
Anybody have an alternative to Christmas?
Alternative to a Christmas tree.
Rather than a live tree or even an artificial one.
Even an artificial one that's largely plastic, right?
But this involved gifts, but like need a Christmas tree on the gifts. Out of the boxes.
Sure, sure.
Micah, do we have time to talk about greenwashing a little bit?
We can.
I found that really helpful and interesting.
I have just a couple of little things as you're, you know, again, like I said, there's ways you can make these things simple. And if you want to go further, there are other things you can look at. Let me hide this. Let me get you guys a little smaller.
Well, Micah's doing a little technical stuff. In the chat, we have that Joni gives classes, signed their grandkid up for gymnastics. And as a parent, that's awesome. Giving a kid a chance to try something new.
I was mentioning those sustainable gift options online. Of course, you got to be a little careful with anything you look at online, right? Are they really sustainable? Sometimes people say they're sustainable, but not really. I have this little, you know, ExxonMobil announces net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. And now I hope they're honest about that, but it seems a little strange that the oil extraction company is claiming that they're going to find some way to be net zero emissions. I'm not so sure about that. So couple of quick, easy ways that you can say, hey, is this company really sustainable that I'm purchasing from online? If you want to go down that rabbit hole, there's a couple easy ways to do that. Obviously, the large businesses hopefully have a sustainability pledge on their website. But again, just like Exxon, do a quick internet search and see if they actually walk the walk or if they're just talking the talk. That's pretty easy to do for a large business. B Corps for more tend to be more medium-sized business. They could be any size, but they tend to be more medium-sized businesses just because of the way it works. It's the highest standards. It's a third-party certification process that has the highest standards of social and environmental performance. And so if you're buying from a B Corp, you know, or also a benefit corp, they are two different things. Well, that's not the focus of this. And then for local small businesses, they don't have time to go through this rigorous B Corp process, right? But they're a local business. Just pick up the phone and give them a call, and you'll be able to tell pretty quickly in a quick conversation if they actually, you know, walk the walk and not just talk the talk. And then the other nice thing at the very bottom, I talk about, you know, find out if they're local too, right? There are some, you know, there's that Collider, the co-working space above Blue Duck. There's a few others around town. That's just one that I grabbed. These co-working spaces where any company from anywhere in the world can have a desk at this, you know, co-working space and have a local address. So maybe Google the local address. Is it, you know, is it really local? You know, do they really answer the phone? And then if you want to go even further, speaking of, yeah.
What's an example of a B corporation? Could you mention one or two, maybe?
Oh, boy.
So I don't have anything in mind.
Yeah.
That connects to.
A household name B Corp. There's a company that I like to get things out of Colorado, that provides, well, a lot of my solar racking. For those of you that don't know, my day job is in solar energy, and I try to purchase my solar racking from this B Corp. But it's not a household name. It's not anybody that you would have heard of. EcoFasten, and they're a B Corp, and they you know, do so much of their proceeds go to sustainability and so on. But Peace Coffee is a B Corp.
Coffee, if you're familiar with that coffee, you can buy it. Yep.
Yeah, and they're available at the food co-op, Trader Joe's, natural grocers, I think even at Hy-Vee.
I think some of the chocolate
Yeah,
Athleta. Bombas is a sock company that makes fabulous socks. But Athleta is a big one if you have teenagers. They love that. Patagonia is one.
and then the other thought I had here, this little, at the top, this little quote on here from Reuters, world's top banks pumped $742 billion into fossil fuels in 2021, with the top ones there listed on the right. And what are some ways you can make sure that your money is not going to a fossil fuel company? Well, here's one example. Green Penny is just one example. There are many banks out there like this, but this is a carbon neutral bank dedicated to financing sustainability projects. So all the deposits, all the money in the bank, you know, if you deposit, if you have a checking account with them, they don't use that to finance fossil fuels. They only use it to finance solar projects and other sustainability projects. So it's a way you can make sure that your money is not being used to finance fossil fuel projects. So that's another kind of a further step for greenwashing if you want to go further down the rabbit hole. So. Any closing comments, Amanda?
I'm good. Thank you all for thinking about how you might make some changes that will make a difference.
Well, thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
We see in the presentation.
So the presentation is on the church's YouTube site. The presentation will be on the church's YouTube site, so all the third Sunday forums can be found through that too. But if you want to leave your email, I'd be happy to make sure we get it.
If you get the newsletter, online, it always under the forums, like link is that you can find the archive forums, and you can just put that.
And then if anybody wants, I'll have a piece of paper up here. If you want me to send you the PDF, I can just get you the PDF of this as well. We're gonna say bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.